Welcome to the Breakthrough to Excellence podcast. I'm Jasmin Haley, healthcare provider turned educator, entrepreneur, and startup strategist. Not too long ago, I was burnt out, overwhelmed, depressed, and full of fear from a toxic work environment. I created my business out of necessity to create a legacy I can be proud of today. It helps me transform the lives of women every single day to pursue their dreams and entrepreneurial goals. I created this podcast to share the empowering stories of entrepreneurial women, help you break through self-doubt to your greatness, and share business strategies to help you create a thriving and profitable business. If you are an emerging entrepreneur or business owner that wants to create the mindset needed to escape burnout, reclaim your personal power, and pursue your entrepreneurial dreams, this podcast is for you. Stay tuned and listen in. Welcome to the Breakthrough to Excellence podcast. This is your host, Jasmin Haley. This week's episode is going to be a solo episode with myself. It's an actual training that I provided from my free Facebook group. So if you are not a current member, just go ahead and look up Breakthrough to Excellence podcast, and you will look for the hashtag. It's not a hashtag, but almost like a tagline that says from 9 to 5 to CEO. Join the Facebook. Routinely I go in and I'll do trainings, and I often record them to repurpose them for content. Hint, hint, emerging entrepreneurs. But what I really appreciated about this particular solo episode of me in a training was that this was actually recorded right at like the height of the COVID quarantine. And it's been a few months right now. I'm actually recording this intro in July. And I was talking about turning back the hands of time. Oftentimes when we think about our journey, we often think about, man, if I knew X, Y, and Z, perhaps I would have tried something else, or perhaps I would have gotten a different result. And so I turn back the hands of time and share the lessons that I wish I knew when I first started my entrepreneurship journey. I am a dental hygienist. I have had no formal training with business. I have learned everything through business, through trial and error, investing in coaches, programs, and courses to help me refine my skills and help me to build the business that I've built. So the big takeaway that I want you all to take from this is, one, there's going to be some things that you say, okay, yeah, this is true. I've seen this in my own business. And if you're just starting your business, I want you to grab a pen and paper and make sure you're jotting this down, because these are like really, really critical things that are important to know before you even start diving into the strategy. So I can sit here all day, talk about strategy, show you ways to automate your business, show you ways to reduce your overwhelm in your business. But at the end of the day, there's some principles that need to be the very foundation of your business. And one of those, of course, is with mindset. And one of the things I've appreciated over the course of me having a business for the last 4 years is just seeing the level of growth I've had with my confidence in who I am. And, you know, one of the things that I complained about at the very beginning of my entrepreneurship journey was that I was talking to a coach, and I explained to her that, man, like, I don't know what step to take next. I don't know who to hire. I don't know what to do. I almost feel like, you know, there's no clue. And I am scared. I'm scared. I don't want to make a mistake. And she was like, you're never going to know exactly everything. You're not going to know the whole how with your business. So I likened it to driving in fog. Have you ever driven in fog where it's so thick that no matter if you have your high beams on or if you have your windshield wipers going, if it happens to rain, you're not able to see but just a few feet ahead, right? And so oftentimes you have to kind of slow down, right? That's what you should do because you want to be safe. You slow down and you inch your way through that. Well, that's exactly what business is like. It's like you have to take a step and you have to move a step forward again and again. And each time you make a step, things will become clearer, right? And so what I fundamentally want to express to you is I didn't realize that at that time, as I was sharing my journey and the lessons that I learned, was that I actually was speaking into existence what I saw for myself. I have a vision of where I want my business to be. And that's why I rebranded in January 2020. I'm an online business coach. And what I do is to help other female entrepreneurs launch their own business. Female entrepreneurs that are coaches, consultants, and speakers. And as a speaker, I have had a tremendous amount of success. And I'm thankful for that in the 4 years that, actually the 5 years that I've been speaking. So I said on this podcast what my goal was. And I just basically said, like, one day I am going to make a 5-figure check for my speaking gig. Someone is going to pay me a 5-figure check. I literally said that. I didn't know how it was going to come about. I didn't know who it was going to be. I knew that we were right at the midst of COVID, and yet I still believed that someone one day will pay me a 5-figure check. And let me tell y'all, okay, clutch your pearls, take a seat. A little over a month after I recorded that podcast, I received my first check during the quarantine for 5 figures for delivering a speaking gig. Y'all. So when they tell you to speak on it, when they say speak on it, sister, right? When they say speak things to existence, it's true. Your mindset is everything. And each level that have gotten to, unless I did the actual mindset work, I would have never made 6 figures in 2019. It would have never happened. Never. And now I'm working towards rebuilding that as an online business coach, which I already know it's possible. But now I'm heading towards, well, if I can get to 6 figures, let's make it to multiple 6 figures, right? And once I reach that pinnacle, let's make it to 7 figures, right? I get to determine how much growth I want in my own business. I get to determine that. It's not the audience, although they are a fundamental, huge piece. You listening to me, you sharing my content. Please share it if you can, if you find it valuable. The work that I do is a direct reflection on me, who I am as a person. What do I believe? The health of my business is a reflection of that. And so I've done a lot of major work. Therapy is wonderful. I'm in a mastermind group right now, and we have mindset coaching every single week. It's a direct reflection of your business. It is a direct reflection. In fact, I want to share a quote to you. It was from one of my last masterminds, and they really helped me to appreciate that. Some people say, well, once I have confidence, once I get to this level, right? Once I have blah, 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 right? Then they're like, okay, then I'll make this step in the business. But confidence, that character quality, right, doesn't happen before you start. It happens after. It happens after. So you're never going to feel 100% confident, right? You have to continue to move forward. And as you start seeing things work out, right? Or maybe sometimes it's not working out, but you're still stepping forward and you're still growing. And so I want you to always remember that. As someone in the mastermind, I wish I knew was a person who said this. Don't ghost on your greatness. Don't ghost on it. I haven't. I'm a Black woman from Jamaica, Queens. I grew up in the hood, single parent, huge money struggles. My life isn't perfect. I'm still working through those kinks, but I built a 6-figure business part-time, and I will build it to multiple 6 figures. And I will build it to 7 figures if I so desire. So take a listen to this powerful episode, if I do say so myself, where I'm sharing the lessons that I wish I knew when I began my entrepreneur journey. Let me know your thoughts. Reach out to me at btpevents@beyondtheprophy.com or join our Facebook group. Join our Facebook group. And if you are a new entrepreneur and you know for sure you're tired of running around here trying to find the answers, you can't get the answers, no one's giving it to you straight, you know you need mindset coaching, you know you need strategy, you know you want to start building some revenue right now, you need to join my group. You need to become a member of the Breakthrough to Excellence Network. It's $49 a month. It is affordable investment for you to get the tools you need to build your business. Because y'all, when I started and I was bootstrapping, as I share in this upcoming episode, it was hard and it was rough. And you know what? Someone believed in me and invested in me. And I'm investing in you. I'm investing in you by providing you a huge, valuable resource at affordable rate. So check it out by going to jasminhaley.com and make sure you click Biz Membership. That's at the top of the menu. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoy this episode. All right. Welcome. So this message that I'm going to share with you today is vulnerable. I am a little nervous, but the topic for this evening is turn back the hands of time, tips and strategies I would give myself my first year in business. I am shocked that I'm still in business. Oh my word. I'm telling you, there's some days where I'm just like, throw it away, throw it all away, throw the people away, everything. So right now, while I'm recording this, we're in a quarantine. And for my extrovert sisters and brothers out there, you know, I know you're dying. I am relishing. You know, I just love the quiet. I'm like, this is wonderful. Yes. And so I know it seems weird, especially if you're not an introvert like I am and you thrive on connection and meeting individuals. And especially if your business thrives on that. So I'm actually very thankful that I've started my business. I have an online business and I'm actually venturing more of the online route from where I started and doing less in-person events. Although I love, you know, meeting individuals in an in-person setting when I'm in control, because I'm a control freak when it comes to experiences, right? When it comes to the people that I get a chance to impact. So I'm going to list out some of the top things and I hope that it resonates with you. And I hope that in me sharing some of the intimate parts about what I feel was necessary for me to know as a new entrepreneur, something you can take back for yourself. All right. So here's the first one. Girl, you are worthy. I think that right there, you know, some people are like, oh, get to revenue, get to the money. But that's the number one thing that I really needed to understand at the very beginning of my journey. Worthy of all I desire, everything I want to achieve, every penny that I can earn. I needed to understand that I was the Jasmin Haley, you know, and at that point, no one knew who I was, but to understand how I was created and made and that my purpose and my strengths were God ordained. Like I needed to really understand that. And I did not. And I did not think that I was enough. And I also didn't feel that my contribution to the world was enough. And I really needed to understand that there's only one of me. There's only one of each of you that are listening today. And I needed to hold up my head high when I entered a room. There would be times where I would be in situations, business deals, partnership deals, different types of situations where I would be questioning myself the entire time. Even if I was hired as a speaker, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get found out. Somebody's going to see, you know, that I'm messing up over my words. You know, I don't really deserve it. There was times where
I was in a position where I could start charging to speak, and I really wasn't doing that enough. And it was causing a lot of financial strain for my family, for me to travel, because we had to hire a babysitter, and then we had to get all this stuff taken care of so that I can just travel. And I wasn't asking for enough. And what it boiled down to was I didn't have enough confidence in who I was. So if you find in the very first year or so of your business, or in the first few years, if you're struggling with what you're charging, you really need to dig deep down enough and figure out, is it really what you're charging? Is it really the organizational problem? Or is it you not valuing who you are and what makes you amazing? So I think that's the very first conversation I would have had with myself if I was to sit down and talk to myself and let myself know that I'm worthy. And yes, I say things differently. I am from the hood, okay? And a lot of people may not be able to identify with that. But if I show my heart and I serve from the heart, there will be some people that can connect on that same level. It doesn't matter. All right, here's my second one. Stop being all things to everyone. Can I get an amen? Woo! Boundaries, 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 y'all. I don't know how to say no. I don't know how to say no. And so one of the things that I would say to myself at the very beginning, if I can turn back the hands of time, is to set them now and set them high. I was in relationships. Now I've had one man now. Okay, y'all. I'm not talking about side pieces. Okay. I'm not talking about men. I'm talking about women, friendships. Okay. And interactions, even acquaintances, or even in volunteering and in any type of organization where I'm spending any extra time. I wasn't setting up enough boundaries. And so I was allowing individuals, organizations to suck the living life out of me. And I would keep coming back just for a little sliver. I mean, a tiny little sliver of them showing me any sort of acceptance, or any sort of, yeah, you can do it, Jasmin, or any sort of, I don't know, support that I felt like I needed at that time. And so I was being everything to everyone, saying yes, yes, yes. And sometimes if you notice, and what I've noticed is that because I didn't feel like I was worthy, I was getting those feelings of worthiness by being everything to everyone, helping everybody out at the detriment of myself. So you have to know, Jasmin, and understand that no one will fight for you the way you will fight for you. You have to protect yourself by establishing those boundaries in business so that you could truly get to your goals. I feel like if I figured that out first, within my first year or so, I would be further in my business than where I am today. But I also feel like I'm right where I need to be. These lessons are important. Okay. Third, double down on what you're good at. If you're good at writing, then do that. If you are, if you're good at speaking, then do that. If you're good at interviewing people, podcasting, then do that. Now, anybody that's listening right now, are you multi-passionate? If you're multi-passionate, please put that in the comment section, because I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and it's okay to be multi-passionate. It is okay. But as you see, as I go further through this discussion tonight, this multi-passionate person could also delay you from getting to certain steps of your journey quicker. Like, you actually slow yourself down. So when you look at doubling down on what you're good at, for me, I would tell myself that if it feels heavy, if anything that I'm doing feels heavy, whether it's a partnership, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business idea, or anything that you're doing, if it feels heavy and you know deep down in your gut you need to get rid of it, get rid of it now. You can have 50 million ideas in your mind and in your head. That is okay. But I would say set them aside, put them in a OneNote, put them into, a document that you know you're not going to lose in your Dropbox, put them in there, set them aside, and just focus on double down more on what you're good at. You can build an empire once you've established your empire based on those set things that I'm going to talk about in the next one, those top things that you are excellent in. So one of the things that I would tell you all is when it comes to growing your business, you don't need to have multiple things, but you could. All right. I don't want to talk too much on that because it goes into my fourth point, but I'm going to share. I would tell myself, don't chase any shiny objects. And what that means is that you need in your business to focus on just your community. A lot of your customers will be repeat, and you'll know that they're your tribe. And you only need to focus on 3 facets of where you're going to serve, only 3. Everything else needs to go into that one little area that you're going to keep your ideas in. Save the others for later. Stick with those 3. And those 3 need to be focused on what your strength is. So I am now figuring that out. After all these years, I'm figuring out what I really love to do, what I'm really good at. And then I'm hiring someone else to take care of the rest. So it's possible. It's definitely possible. The next thing I would tell myself is, if you're going to quit your job with no plan, girl, you better hurry up and get you a job somewhere. You better temp or find wherever you got to go so that you don't have to be so stressed out trying to get as much revenue as possible. Stress will affect your creativity, okay? And it will take away from you truly serving from the heart. So I would have told myself, you getting an additional job, you finding a way to pay the bills just so that you can creatively have the clarity for yourself would put you further in your business than you are right now if you weren't so stubborn. So that's honest. It's real honest, y'all. Okay. I would tell myself, okay, you needed to quit your job for your health, but you also need to make sure that you go in and you shuck and jive for that doctor and temp and do whatever you got to do, or whatever form that you have to do to get in some additional income so that you don't have to stress as much. And then I would also tell myself, in addition to that, making sure that I find some more odd jobs to help in the process of me in the beginning of my business. Have more sex and enjoy your man and your kids. This is rated R, okay? Hopefully there's no kids listening. Have it, relax. Things will work out as long as you focus on the top 3 things that I mentioned, which was knowing that I was worthy, stop being all things to everyone, having boundaries, and double down on what you're good with. Everything will fall into place. All right. Here's another one that I want to share. When you launch, focus on one thing and map out that one thing. So I recommend, and I would say to myself, put everything into quarters, quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Figure out what your offers are going to be for that different quarter. So whether that's an opt-in, whether that is a launch of a new product, whether it's a launch of a podcast, whether it's a launch of an event, you need to focus on one thing for that quarter if you're going to do that, and then map out all of your marketing for that and be consistent in your message. And never, I would release emails out at least twice a month and not do it sporadically the way that I was. When you launch, whether you're launching your business or whatever the case may be, focus on that one thing. If you notice now, although I'm itching to do 50 million things, I'm only talking about my podcast coming out. When my podcast is out, then you will hear about more of the work that I'm doing later on this year. So I really, really believe that is going to be a determining factor. And for me, being a multi-passionate person, it's very difficult to do that. But I'm only able to do that because I was willing to admit that, hey, I need the creative space to do what I need. So it's okay to obtain employment anywhere I need to obtain it, just so I can keep that creative focus, so I can truly serve on a higher purpose and not really have the additional stress of bringing in revenue. And the next one is give freely, but do it strategically. And I would tell myself that regardless of what's happening in anyone else's, business, their chapter 60 isn't your chapter 1, but one day you will receive 5-figure checks or more. One day you will. And the only way you can do that and receive that is if you stay consistent. I would get messages from some people and they would ask me, Jasmin, what do you do? Jasmin, what do you do? I'm confused. I don't know what you're doing. And I would say to myself, well, girl, you need to read then. Because don't you see my 50 million things that I do? And I felt like I didn't need to change. I felt like I did not need to change. And Lord, I needed to change. I needed to get clear, because when people are confused in what you do, they will not be able to decide on how you can help them or you can serve them. So give freely, but do it strategically, and know that everything that you are doing, if you do it from the heart and focus on what your bottom line is. So is it building community? Is it making sure that the community knows that you are a resource for this certain set of problems that they may have? Whatever that is, it needs to be clear in everything that you do. Everything. All right. And here's my final one. And then I'm going to open the floor because I love talking to y'all. My final one is you need to figure out how to get over your money mindset issues. I think I spent 2 years of not being able to receive the amount of profit that I could have because I didn't feel like I deserved or could earn a certain number in a year. I didn't think 6 figures was even possible at some point. I didn't think $500 was possible. Then when I first got my $500 check, I was like, oh, I'll never get $1,000. And then when I got my first $1,000 check, you're like, oh no, I'll never get X, Y, and Z, So those money mindset issues were ones that I think blocked me. And as I've learned from a phenomenal coach that's in dentistry, her name is Jamie Dooley, when she helped me to appreciate that money was just energy and that I was blocking it away from receiving it, I realized that I was the only person that could blame for my business not growing the way it could. And I also needed to get over the fact that, yes, in my family, money is a love-hate relationship. I've seen a lot of poverty. I've seen a lot of struggle. And the struggle and poverty didn't have to be my life. It didn't have to be something that I can create or have in my life or legacy that I would pass down to my kids. I could do something completely different, and I was well deserving of creating that for myself. So if I could turn back the hands of time, those would be the things that I would tell myself. And I hope that any of those tips could help you in the process of kind of getting over the mindset issues that tend to affect us as entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are extremely burnt out. We're very critical. We're very hard on ourselves. We all have very similar personalities where we tend to feel like everything should be perfect. Everything should be working a certain kind of way. And at least a lot of us leaving it. So I think that's why most of the things that I've focused on have to do with mindset. I think once you overcome that, you can reframe your mind or shift your mindset, as I've talked about before, to really get to a place of profit or success, whatever your success looks like for you. All right. I appreciate you listening, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning into the show. Dive in deeper by visiting the show notes for this episode or listening to more episodes on JasminHaley.com. If you found value in the show, share with a friend or leave us a review. I'll see you next time.